Welcome back to the Star Wars Cinematic Frontier podcast. Today, we're diving into Rogue One, a Star Wars story.
Congratulations, you are being rescued. Please do not resist.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Everything I did for the rebellion.
There are a lot of explosions for two people blending in.
Stand here amidst my achievement, not
I've placed a
yours.
weakness deep within the system. A flaw so small and powerful that we'll never find it. But, Jin,
I've got a bad feeling about it. I'll be there for you.
Rebellions are built on hope.
Cassian said I had to.
Be careful not to choke on your aspirations, Director.
I say we
I'm
fight.
standing by as requested, although there's a problem on the horizon. There's no horizon.
Are we blind? Deploy the garrison!
Stand to see the Imperial flag reign across the galaxy.
It's not a problem if you don't look up.
This film dropped way back in 2016, nearly 1 decade ago, and gave us a gritty, new look at the Star Wars universe unseen by the other movies. Now, if you're not familiar, Rogue One tells the story of how the Rebel Alliance got their hands on the Death Star plans, setting up the events of A New Hope almost perfectly. The movie follows Jyn Erso, daughter of Galen Erso, who just so happens to be the lead engineer of the Death Star program. The rebels break her out of an Imperial prison transport, hoping to use her to reach Saw Gerrera. He's got a defective Imperial pilot carrying vital information. Turns out, Galen built a flaw in the Death Star on purpose. After he dies, the mission becomes clear. Sneak into the Imperial vault on the tropical planet of Scarif and steal those plans. Now, unlike last episode, I'm going to be going into way more depth and specific scenes and story beats. So if you haven't seen it yet, spoiler warning, I'd recommend watching the film before continuing. Let's talk about one of the most talked about aspects of Rogue One, the use of early deepfake style tech. So deepfakes are basically AI generated faces that can be slapped onto actors to recreate someone else's likeliness, often someone who's passed away. The way it works is, you feed the system a massive amounts of photos and videos and references of a person from all kinds of angles, lighting setups, and expressions. Then with the help of machine learning and AI, it maps the faces onto an actor's performance. The more material it has, the better the results. We're talking about thousands, sometimes millions of images just to get one good, believable render. This idea isn't exactly new. Face replacement has been around for decades. The movie Gladiator in 2000 used it after one of the actors passed away mid-filming. But Rogue One pushed it to another level by digitally recreating two iconic characters, Grand Moff Tarkin and young Princess Leia. Peter Cushing, who originally played Tarkin, passed away in 1994, long before Rogue One was even in production. But the VFX artist found a face mold of him and built a full 3D model. They used an actor on set for movement and facial expressions, then mapped Cushing's likeness on top of that face. What we were left with was a okay kinda Grand Moff Tarkin. Not perfect, but better than other face replacement. But the same thing happened with Leia, but those results weren't quite as convincing. I think Tarkin was better. Why do these CGI faces sometimes look off? It comes down to the little things. For example, the eyes. Eyes are ridiculously hard to recreate. There's so much going on with the light reflections. Depth, moisture, tiny muscle movements, there's a lot going on that can go wrong. If it's even a little bit off, your brain instantly knows something's weird. Then there's the skin. Skin isn't just one solid thing. It has layers, pores, tiny hairs, and it stretches with muscle movements. It's very elastic and it has its own kind of feel to it. There's this thing called subsurface scattering, where light goes into your skin and bounces around before coming back out. You know that red glow when you hold your hand up to a flashlight? That's it. It's these super subtle details that make CGI skin look, well, like skin, and not shiny plastic or rubber. Skin acts just like water, it reflects the light. Now, Rogue One did a solid job, especially with Tarkin, but the tiny muscle movements around the eyes and mouth weren't quite right, and Leia's proportions felt slightly off, especially her eyes. And because our brains are wired to recognize faces, any small mistakes stand out. This is known as the uncanny effect, or the uncanny valley. Fast forward a few years, and deepfakes got a glow up. Shows like The Mandalorian Season 2 used them for Luke Skywalker, but even then the eyes kinda wandered off like he was zoning out, and his face lacked a lot of emotion. ILM later improved this a ton in the Book of Boba Fett, where in that Luke, he actually looks around and has more emotion, not so rigid. Still, not perfect, the voice felt a little bit off, but it's much better. So, deepfakes aren't flawless, but they're improving fast, and unlike traditional CGI face models, deepfakes can be automated, even used in real time, just like a snap filter. Alright, tech talk done. Let's jump into what really makes Rogue One stand out, the story and the techniques. This is The Breakdown. What makes Rogue One special is the tone. It's raw, gritty, and grounded. When not watching a Jedi saga, this is a war film. There was no flashy lightsaber duels or force-heavy plot points. This one's about regular people, soldiers, spies, and sacrifice. The camera work sells it. You get shots from the trenches, from behind cover, waist gunners in a U-wing letting loose on walkers. It all feels real. The terrorist attack on Jeddah, the beach landings on Scarif. These scenes have a lot of that on-the-ground document style, like you're there. And those low-angle shots in the beginning, they set up the tone beautifully, really putting you in the scene. Now, let's talk about those action scenes. The space battles are amazing. There's a few parts where the camera follows the X-Wings flying through the shield gate. It feels like Top Gun meets Star Wars, it's awesome. And how about pushing two Star Destroyers into each other? It's wild, it's creative, and it totally works. Another cool thing is the transitions. In one scene, a rebel ship takes a hit and crashes, and the very next shot is ground troops charging under the falling wreck. The flow between air and land combat is seamless, and really gives you a good scope of the battle. Then there's the realism. Stormtrooper helmets cracking, rebel soldiers wearing helmets inspired by real-life US M1 helmets. Everything feels like a mix between sci-fi and World War II. Even Jin's blaster is modeled after the German P-08 Luger. All these details make the battle feel more grounded and lifelike. Rogue One also gives us a better sense of scale than most Star Wars films. The AT-ATTs walking out of the fog, the Star Destroyer hovering over the Jeddah city, the Death Star looming over Scarif. All of it sells just how massive and terrifying these things really are that you don't see in the originals. And when the Death Star fires, holy crap, the blast effects are gorgeous and terrifying at the same time. The shots are long enough that we can enjoy the chaos, but not so much that it feels overdone. Now the cameos and callbacks are handled really well too. General Syndulla and Chopper from Rebels show up or are mentioned. Saw Gerrera makes the jump from the Clone Wars to live action. There's even a mention of the Darksaber buried in the vault. And of course, the cherry on top, Bail Organa talking about reaching out to Obi-Wan and watching that transition into how Leia will eventually get the plans to the Death Star and escaping Vader. But then there's Vader himself. James Earl Jones returns his voice to him, and in his hallway scene, amazing. It's brutal, chilling, easily one of the best Vader moments ever put on screen. We really get a sense of how powerful Vader is. There's also a cool little detail you might have missed, the lighting progression. The film starts in darkness, then gradually gets brighter, ending in that final explosion of light from the Death Star, a symbolic way to show the character's journey and sacrifice. Alright, so it's not perfect, but let's talk about the bad techniques used. Like I mentioned earlier, the CGI faces, especially Leia, can be very distracting. Some of the dialogue is a little clunky too, but hey, that's just Star Wars, it's okay. Clunky dialogue is kind of part of the charm. One complaint I've seen a lot of is the ending, that all the main characters die, but honestly, I think that's why the movie hits so hard. The sacrifice actually matters. And we still get to see Cassian again in Andor and in Season 2 coming up soon. So, it's not really the end for everyone. Rogue One is a cinematic masterpiece. The cinematography, sound design, music, ground combat, and world building all work together beautifully. It brings something new to the table while staying faithful to the universe we all love. Oh yeah, I'm giving this movie a rock solid 9.5 out of 10. It's amazing, I love it. I hope you do too. It absolutely earns its spot near the top of my personal Star Wars ranking, and one of the greatest movies that I've ever watched. That's it for this episode. This is your commanding officer, Brian, signing off. If you enjoyed this, stay tuned. The final episode in the series is coming out soon. You can find me outside of Spotify over on Instagram at Puffin Cinematics. And be sure to check out my YouTube channel at Recon Puffin, where I've got other projects too you might be interested in. I have stop motion, I have some gameplay, you'll like it. Just stop by and see what's there. On the next episode of Star Wars, the Cinematic Frontier podcast, we'll be diving into one of the most underrated Star Wars shows out there, Star Wars Clone Wars from 2003. This one's a gem, created by the same guy who made Samurai Jack, and let me tell you, he did not miss. It's packed with awesome storytelling, killer visuals, and introduces us to the scariest version of General Grievous we've ever seen. Watch him take out Jedi Shaggy. Can't wait to explore that one with you. Till next time, I'll see you on the frontier, soldier. Thanks for listening.